Inutu here. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can get a notification the next time I post a video. In this video, I'm sharing with you how you can get a scholarship to study overseas. I have done all of my university studies overseas on full scholarship, and I'm also answering this scholarship question because someone asked me recently, and a while back a few other people wrote me and said, oh no, I want to study overseas, I'm interested in XYZ field, similar to what I've studied, and I want to know if you know of any possibilities and chances I could get a scholarship. Okay, so first of all, some things that you need to consider when you are searching for a scholarship. Think about the where, think about the kind of scholarship you want to get, because some universities or some institutions only offer partial scholarships, which could just be for your tuition, for example, or just maybe accommodation, or they could just say they offer you a certain amount of money to be used to purchase your books, for example, or they could just offer money for you to be able to fly to and from your country of origin to your future university town or city or country. So all of those things you need to consider. You also need to consider how relatively easy or possible it is for you as a Zambian to get a student visa and this same funding, because for example, I've heard situations where people have been accepted into a university in XYZ country, but then when they came round to trying to apply for a scholarship to go to that country, the scholarship was denied. So you have to consider a whole host of things. I will just give you some tips from my perspective, what I did when I was looking for a scholarship. I've mentioned some of these already on Cheetah Diaries channel, because she asked me some questions regarding scholarships and I gave some insight there. So you might just want to pause this video, watch that one, or watch this one first and then watch that video in case I leave out some things. So what I did, I first of all checked high and below local newspapers. At the time you had to buy the newspaper. Practically there wasn't that much access. I didn't have access to online Zambian newspapers, so we were, my mother and I, we were buying newspapers every so often to check the newspapers to see if there were scholarships. Now it's easier, there's lots of publications that are online, so maybe they have a section that's specifically dedicated to announcing scholarships. If not, just make it a habit, check for scholarships in the local newspapers. What else did I do? I approached specific organizations. So one example, I'm not saying that you should do this, but one example I already gave was I had a diary, and it was for a certain international company, and in the back they had a list of offices across the globe. So I was specifically writing those offices and asking them if they had any scholarships for students to study in that country. I got a few replies. I didn't get some replies. There was one guy who was nice enough to write me, I think it was from someone from Australia, and they said, no, we don't have scholarships, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. You could do that, or you could directly write organizations that you've heard of that offer scholarships to students. So mostly foreign development agencies have scholarships. You could check those. You could check embassies in Lusaka. I know, for example, the German embassy has a whole host of scholarships that they advertise and announce, and you could check there and ask. I mean, if you want to go and study in Germany, for example. What else did I do? After that, I checked specific universities, and so like I said, I still didn't have, that's for my undergraduate studies, I didn't have that much access to the internet, so that was a little bit tricky. But when I came around to doing my master's program, internet access was much easier, so I went specifically to university websites. I checked what scholarships the university I was interested in going to was offering in the area that I wanted to study in. So that's 3 tips. Think about the area you want to study in, you want to think about the university, and then you want to check in your field. So if you want to study, for example, mathematics, so mathematics department, mathematics, foreign student scholarships, what kind of scholarships are there? Are they full scholarship or partial scholarship? So for example, if you get a partial, not a partial, but if you get a partial scholarship, is there a possibility for you to later on apply for another scholarship from that same university, or you have to go outside the university and get funding? I mean, funding opportunities, all I want to say, to study abroad, they are possible to get. You just have to shop around and really think hard about what possibilities you have. There are possibilities, you can get them. Sometimes you might have to apply several times before you get the scholarship. Don't give up. I've talked about going to government agencies, I've talked about going directly to universities, I've talked about going directly to embassies in Lusaka and asking them. I mean, you might not physically have to go and knock on the door like, hey, hi, I'm so and so and I'm interested in finding a scholarship. They might have a website. Check their website for either a contact number or something that you can either email or phone, and yeah, ask them, be proactive, go around. Don't just wait for the announcements in the newspapers, because sometimes those come around and there's like very few scholarships announced in the newspapers and so many people who want those scholarships. But I can assure you that if a girl like me from Lusaka could get a scholarship to study overseas, you too have possibilities. Another thing that I mentioned, I think in the video that I did on Cheetah Diaries video, was, you know, sometimes you want a scholarship to study overseas. So for example, this country will have a specific requirement. You have to learn their language. So for example, I did my undergraduate studies in Havana, Cuba, so I had to learn Spanish. So I mean, at the time it was like really exciting, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn Spanish. But then, you know, in hindsight, I should have thought, well, am I going to be able to use Spanish when I learn it? How practical is that going to be for me? Sorry, just checking the time. And then what else? And then again, so for example, in Zambia we have, for example, you will see people mention how there is a Rhodes Scholarship or a Chevening Scholarship or Commonwealth Scholarship, you know. So just you could also just do a quick search online right now. If you're very active on, let's say, Twitter, for example, scholarship is one search term. Scholarship for Zambians or scholarship Zambia is another search term. You could use Twitter, you could use as an initial search engine, you could also use Google, for example, scholarships for Zambians. And there are lots of websites that, you know, make lists of scholarships that are available or have just been announced, and in there you will find this is open to students from Zambia. So, and when you click on it, it will take you to either the university or the institution that's offering the scholarship. It takes time, so it's very helpful if you know the program you want to get on, the university you want to get on. Sometimes it's even helpful if you could do a search and see who's teaching on the program. Most university professors have their email, or lecturers have their emails available, so you could ask them, I'm interested in studying XYZ program that you teach, I'm interested in studying with you, do you know if your department has any scholarships I could apply for? And sometimes these lecturers, they have funding in order to be able to get students to come and study under them or do research under them. So they'll be forthcoming. They'll either tell you, no, okay, I don't deal with this, but maybe contact either the undergraduate office or the postgraduate office. Don't be shy, be proactive, go out and look and know, like I've said this already, if I could get scholarships to study overseas, you can too. You just have to spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of research. And just because one university says no, one university lecturer says no, it doesn't mean that that should be the end of your search. I remember when I was looking for somewhere to study my master's program, and again now when I was looking to start my PhD, I wrote a lot of people. I was very sure I wanted to do this program, my PhD program, in the UK, for example, because the UK has a lot of history, you know, teaching this course and this content, you know, like they have a lot of prestige. That's also something you should also consider. What's the level of prestige of XYZ university? Because sometimes you study there, you finish your course, and people just see the name of your university and they know the, you know, the clout or the respectability that comes with a degree from that university, because you don't want to be there saying, no, look, I studied in XYZ country, I studied this, so yeah, I'm a really, really good student. Because sometimes just the name of your university gets you in the door for an interview or for a networking opportunity. So consider that also. And I mean, if you have any specific questions other than the things that I've mentioned now, feel free to get in touch with me on Twitter at La Zambiana, on Instagram at La Zambiana. You could also comment on this video and I'll try to respond to everyone's questions. But for now, I think that's all I'm going to share. I'm sorry about the noise that you can hear in the background because they're doing construction work right outside my window. But until the next video, I thank everyone that's currently subscribed, and I thank the new subscribers. You people are the MVPs. You people rock. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.